Hey everyone, Couch Investor here with another video for you today. In today's video we're going to cover Spotify stock again. We're going to do a little stock analysis. We're going to look at the headlines for the week. Most of you might not have watched my last video about Spotify. It was around about 2 weeks ago where I called it a stock that was going to go to $250 in the next year or so. Obviously that almost is happening right now because of some interesting news. So if you haven't watched that video, I would suggest you to pause this one and go check it out right here, because I'm explaining the company and why I think it has huge growth ahead. So if you haven't watched that one and want to gain more information about the company and the stock as a whole, maybe go watch it right here. In this video, we're just going to go over the two major news headlines that we got the last 2 days, and I'm going to go over the stock analysis, the stock price again with the same chart as before, and see how that has fared. But before I get started, just want to thank everyone that has been subscribing to the channel lately. We're almost at 1,000 subscribers, so if you haven't subscribed yet, maybe now is the time to hit that subscribe button. And if you like the videos, maybe leave it a thumbs up as well, and let me know if you bought Spotify stock before my video or after my video. Let me know down in the comments below, and what are your thoughts on the stock and company as a whole. So without further ado, let's get started. Alright, so in my last video I talked about Spotify and the Joe Rogan deal. If you don't know, Spotify bought the Joe Rogan experience channel from YouTube for around about $100 million. Not really from YouTube, but basically Joe Rogan is gonna do his podcast exclusively on Spotify starting September 1st, and I said that that was just the first major acquisition. Obviously they acquired The Ringer, which is a sports podcast earlier this year, but Joe Rogan is few levels above with around about 100 plus million downloads every month or so. So I said that's only the first big step they're taking towards being the #1 player in the podcasting industry, and they are moving towards a more video-like content, maybe a major competitor to YouTube moving forward. So in this video, we're going to go over the two newest partnerships that Spotify has made with, one, DC Comics, and two, everybody knows her, Kim Kardashian. We're going to go over the little specifics that are known to us right now, and again I'm going to tell you why I think this is major, and this is just the start for Spotify as well, to grow into that whole podcasting universe and becoming maybe the #1 audio content delivery platform in the world. Alright, let's talk about the first partnership with DC Comics. As of now, we don't know when that will air, but we do know what they will be able to do. So the main goal is to have some narrative content about, well, the major characters in the DC universe. You might know Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, all those guys and women. I still don't know how they're going to do that. Are they going to show some parts in video? Are they not going to show some parts in video? Is this going to be exclusively audio? I don't know yet, but it really sounds interesting. Obviously they have the rights, because it's as well a partnership with Warner Brothers. They have the right to all the characters in the DC universe, and they also said that they will create specific stories based on those criteria that Spotify can deliver. Only audio that will be, so storylines about characters, new storylines that is. So it remains to be seen how they're going to do that. So this move is actually a response because, well, SiriusXM and Pandora acquired the right to produce a narrative audio experience with Marvel. They're gonna do some storytelling about Wolverine, Black Widow, Star-Lord, and Hawkeye. So they might be doing the same thing with characters from DC. That remains to be seen, but I think that's the main goal. One, to be a major competitor to the Marvel universe and SiriusXM and Pandora, and two, to create more and more new content on their platform so that they will get more and more engagement on it as well. Next up, we have the Kim Kardashian West deal. It remains to be seen how much they paid for that, but I don't think it's going to be more than Joe Rogan, because Joe Rogan actually has a podcast, so he has content to put on the platform. But a name like Kim Kardashian, to be associated with a platform like Spotify, is worth probably tens of millions of dollars. Now, most of you might not know, but Kim Kardashian is actually studying to become a lawyer, and she's a vocal advocate for criminal justice reform. So I think that's going to be the topic of most of her podcasts. I don't think she will host the podcast every time, but maybe some series of detectives, of other lawyers or whatever, are going to talk about some specific cases. Some of you don't know, but she actually has been doing a lot of good work lately regarding criminal injustice. She's got a lot of people out of jail that were, well, unjustly sentenced for a crime they did not commit. So I think most of the topics will be about those types of cases, the cases that she's been working on, maybe a global overview of what she's trying to achieve, what flaws and what positive things that can come out of this, and what she learned about this whole experience, obviously, as well as maybe lawyers or whoever is coming to the podcast will give us more information about that. But as a whole, I think Spotify going after A-list celebrities and people like Joe Rogan, Kim Kardashian, companies like DC Comics, acquiring a podcast like The Ringer, I think that's just the first stepping stone towards getting there to the YouTube level of content creation and content delivery platform that they want to achieve. And that is why in my last video I put a target price of $250. Obviously we're now, I think, almost at 240. I think we were at 240, but we're going to look at the stock price in just a bit. Now again, if you want to know all the numbers about the podcasting industry, if you still don't believe me that podcasting is huge and will become even bigger year over year, you should go watch my other video about Spotify, where I really covered the whole topic thoroughly. And yeah, ad revenue as well is becoming bigger and bigger. That's why Spotify wants to make a switch to videos on the platform. Like I said in my previous video, they tried it out, I think 3 years ago, didn't work out. But I think with the Joe Rogan deal, that's one major thing that's going to happen. So that's one of the main points I wanted to point out, and why this is important for Spotify to keep attracting those major players in that content delivery world. Now we're going to look at the stock price analysis, and I'm going to finish out with another type of opinion and maybe another price target in the short term and the longer term. Alright, so let's look at the Spotify graph real quick. I drew this line. Everything I drew here was already from my last video, apart from this gap right here that I just drew a couple of hours ago. So basically this was the major resistance line from a long time ago in 2018, around about almost $200. This was a mini support slash resistance when we were under 185, and this was a major support at 160 that I said if we're going down, we're gonna go down around about 13% and a half. But last time I made the video, we're around, I think here or so, $181. I said, like you can see here, this is from my last video 2 weeks ago. We're gonna go up, then down, up and down, up and down, and then hopefully break out of the $200 mark. We did that. Obviously, then great news came. We broke out even more. We went over $240 for a bit, but then went back down to 231. Obviously, there's a gap here. Will that get filled? Depending on how the market reacts in the next couple of weeks or so. If there's a second wave coming, if the media makes the public panic again, I don't know, but I will give it a 40% chance of happening, to be going down. Maybe not all the way down to under $200 or $200, but I believe the stock will have to go down a bit, because I think the stock is a bit overbought right now. We can see it right here. Yeah, so the stock is a bit overbought. So if it goes back down to around $220, $230 mark and stays there for let's say a couple of days like this, we won't be in the overbought section anymore. We'll be just fine. And let's say we want it to continue like this, we will be getting a nice little new support line, mini support line at around $230 mark. If not, I think it will go down to around this point. But if it goes down to around 210, then we might as well want it to go, maybe in an intraday trading, go down to fill that gap and then go back up. But as of now, I believe this is going to be a play. $220, $230 mark, stay there for a while and make a solid support base around those prices right there. But looking at this like for the longer term, I believe Spotify stock is a winner. You might see the stock go down a bit in the next couple of trading days, but again, longer term, you have to think longer term, the stock is a winner. Obviously, you don't want to catch and buy the stock when it's going up and up and up. Same thing when the stock is going down. Don't want to catch falling knives. So if you haven't opened a position yet in that stock, maybe allow it to blow off some steam a bit in the next couple of trading days. Right, so as we just saw, the price is around about $230. There's a $5 gap between 200 and 205, 201, $206. Will that gap get filled? I believe it can get filled. I give it a, let's say, 40% chance to get filled because, well, it's good to have great news, but it's also bad for the stock health to go up way too fast. It happened with the Joe Rogan deal. Obviously, we're now even higher because there's even more good news. So for that gap not to get filled, we need to keep the pace of having good news around Spotify or just around the whole market. So the stock might stabilize around the $220, $230 because I think now the stock is a bit overbought. If the stock price goes a bit lower or stays at the $230 mark for a couple of days, that would be great. But overall, like I said, I love Spotify. I own stock. I own the app. I'm a premium user. I think Spotify will go to $250 this year already, unless there's very bad news coming out to the market. But longer term, I think in a couple of years, if they continue the way they've been dealing with the whole podcast revolution, and if they achieve this video creation platform like YouTube, I think a $500 price tag in the next couple of years is very, very achievable, but that's only if those couple of points are achieved in the short term to have greater success in the longer term. So that would be it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. It's shorter than my usual videos, but again, if you want more information about Spotify stock, go watch the video right here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, maybe now is the time to hit that subscribe button. And if you like the video, maybe leave it a thumbs up as well, as it really helps me out grow the channel and get my videos out there. And like always, guys, take care, stay safe, and see you all in the next video. Bye bye.